Hey gang, AV here, and welcome to my review of the Boss Fight Studio Vitruvian Hacks Series 1 Spartan Warrior Sparta's Elite. Here he is in the packaging. This is an army builder, and it is the second release of the Spartan Warrior. This is version 2. I was unfortunate enough not to get version 1. They had sold out completely before I had a chance. So I snagged a couple version 2s while I had the opportunity. As you can see, that is his name and his occupation right there. It is an adult collectible. So kids, don't try this at home. You should not be watching my channel. It's not for kids. There's hacks. Highly articulated character kit system, which basically means in a nutshell that his accessories, his armor, even his body parts are all interchangeable with other characters in the hacks system. There he is in the bubble. You can see him and a good portion of his accessories. It looks like his sword was so sharp it cut through the bag that it was in. Fun. Again, not for kids. And here is a very cool original art piece on the front of the card itself. Let's flip it around to the back, where we find his file card. As I've said numerous times, I'm a big fan of the file cards. Here he is next to a standard G.I. Joe file card. As you can see, it's roughly about the same size. And if you would like to read it, feel free to pause the video and do so now. Once again, huge fan of the fact that they include the file cards and flesh out the characters and give the story more depth and everything. I wish more companies did this. It really makes the characters and the action figures themselves that much more meaningful when you choose to collect them. Here is other figures that are also available. As you can see, he came out in between waves during this temporal anomaly error. He's right there. This was basically where they had reissued figures with slightly different paint schemes. And there are other figures available. Some of these are still available. Some of them have sold out by now. Feel free to use this QR code to go to the Boss Fight Studio store and try your luck to see what's still available. So anyway, that's it for the packaging. It is collector-friendly packaging, which basically means that you can open it up and then put it back as though it was never opened. And I have mixed feelings about that, which I've addressed numerous times, and I'm not going to do so here. Watch one of my other videos if you like to see what I'm talking about. But anyway, let's just slide the card out of the way to gain access to the figure and his contents. Slide the packaging out of the way, and let's have a look at the figure in all its glory here. Okay, so we're going to start off with this bag of slop down here at the bottom. Alright, as you can see, yeah, the bag's split, probably due to that sharp sword, and contents are spilling out. So let's just remove the tape, open this bag up. Or I could just open the hole, pull everything out that way. Alright, so he comes with this scabbard and belt. The belt pegs onto the sheath here. Can spin 360 degrees. This is pliable plastic. Allows you to put it on around his neck. He comes with 2 swords. This is the one meant for this. Even though it's got a flare in the blade, it will go in there if you squeeze it. It is a very tight fit, but that's what that's for. It's meant to go in there. And you can even see it's bulging. But the short sword is no different. There we go. Short sword is no different. I mean, it's just as wide, so it's definitely meant for the longer sword because of the length on this thing. But, I mean, even that, it can go in there, but it's meant for this guy. He has an extra set of hands, which I'll go over once I get the figure opened. He has a figure stand, which is in the shape of the Boss Fight Studio logo. It has 2 foot pegs, and it holds the figure very securely when you peg him into that. Here is his spear, which has 3 different distinct colors on it. It's got the gold, it's got a brown, it's got a more of a burgundy brown there, and gold at the other end. Very nicely detailed, very sharp point on the end. Sharp, pointy sticks. He has a helmet with a tail on the end. Very nice shade of red on this. It's a little crushed from being in the package. He has his shield, which has the Spartan emblem there. Handhold, this is for his wrist. And I've mentioned in previous videos, these notches here have holes in them. Actually, these holes look like they've been filled up with paint, but they were molded with holes so that you could run a string through there and hang this on his back if you wish. And that's it for his accessories. Let's get him out of the package. Have a look at the figure himself. He's got a bearded likeness. Nice gold color on his armor. Brilliant white, black with red. Gold. Very nice. Looks very good. I unfortunately do not have one of the original Spartan warriors handy. I do have the Ultimate Spartan, which I will compare this figure to in that Spartan, Ultimate Spartans video. But as near as I can tell, he has more brighter colors. I think that was the main reason why he was different from the other Spartans. The other ones had more like a darker shades to them. Again, I'm not positive on that. I haven't owned that figure, so I can't say for certain. His helmet fits on pretty snugly, although his nose guard is off to the side there. It's not going to protect your schnozola unless it's in the middle. There you go. Fits pretty decent. Fits pretty good. This, I've mentioned this numerous times, getting his hand onto there is a little easier said than done, especially if you want to get his fingers wrapped around it. It can happen, but it takes a little bit more patience and time than I have available. And these usually bend out a little bit. Although these are very stiff. Man, can't seem to get these. But normally, you can always just do that. All right, from now on, we're just going to call him Lefty. But normally those wrist things usually bend out a little bit easier than that. This one's very stiff. I'm going to have to heat this one up in order to do that on that one. But I usually just bend them out, drape them over the arm, and then just let it rest on the arm that way. The handhold, it is possible, but it is it's a pain to actually get it to sit right. I'm not a huge fan of that particular method for a shield. This, I've demonstrated how the sword fits in there, and to put it on the figure, you just put it around the arm, drape it over the head, and it hangs just like that. His weapons will fit into his hands. His fingers are a little stiff, but they're meant to be pliable, so you can actually get his swords in there with a little effort. And they're held very securely. He looks pretty badass, you have to admit. And since he is a Spartan, he should. Alright, so let's get on to his articulation now. Alright, so his head is on a barbell joint, which basically means he's got a good range of motion there in his neck. So he can look down, he can look up, he can tilt side to side, he can do a full 360, and he can even wiggle his head forward and back a tiny bit. His arms will do a full 360 and go up about that far. His biceps, there's no articulation there, but his elbows can go up about 90 degrees, can go down almost 90, and we'll do a full 360, although they're a little hindered by this little bit of an elbow down there. His hands are on a peg, which can rotate a full 360. They also bend down and up, as you can see, but the alternate set of hands he has, when you plug them in, will bend in and out. I've demonstrated that numerous times, and I've said numerous times that I applaud that. It really helps when posing the figure to get a really natural pose, depending on which accessories you have him with. It can really make it look natural. He does have a ball jointed ab crunch, which allows for a great range of motion. However, with his armor, it is virtually impossible to get any use out of it without popping the armor loose at the seams here. The armor is meant to come off. It is meant to be interchangeable. However, getting it pegged back together for this tight seam is a lot easier said than done, and I've fought with it often enough that if I don't have to take this off, I'm not gonna. That being said, you can still get kind of a twist out of it, although you can see I'm putting a lot of stress on that seam there. So do so at your own risk. His legs will go out about this far, again utilizing the seams in the sides of his armor. So it may look a little funky. He can do the can about this far, but the farther you go, the worse his armor is going to look. His knees are double jointed, so you can get his heel back about this far. His ankles are pegged in, so you can do a full 360 at the ankle. You can also bend them back about that far and bend them forward about that far. Excellent articulation on these guys, as I've said numerous times. And I've also said quite a few times that these suits of armor, while they look great, they do greatly hinder his torso articulation, unfortunately. Especially at the abs, the waist, and the hips. That being said, though, he certainly looks the part. And as long as you're not expecting to get him in any superhero poses, you should be good to go. Let's get size comparison now. Here he is next to a modern G.I. Joe. As you can see, they're roughly about the same size. It looks like Snake Eyes is slouching a little bit. No. But they're roughly about the same size. Here he is next to vintage G.I. Joe. As you can see, he's noticeably taller. He definitely fits in better with the 4-inch figures as opposed to the 3 3/4-inch figures. And I think he's great, personally. He's one of my favorite ones from the Series 1 line. He was a lot of people's favorites from the Series 1 line. He's a great army builder. He comes with very practical and well-detailed accessories. Decent posability considering the fact that even without his torso being utilized. Great head sculpt. Great figure. And if you have the opportunity to pick him up at a reasonable price, I suggest you do. So anyway, this has been AV. This has been my review of the Spartan Warrior version 2. If you like this video, check out my channel. If you like what you see there, then please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.